I went to him almost in tears. I was like, gosh, I don't know if this is for me. I haven't made a sale. I got to do something different. Like, I remember I was so mad at myself. I was like, I quit baseball for this. So he said, hey, slow down. Like, what's the market telling you?
You're listening to the Whiskey and Insurance Podcast.
In this special episode, Luke Eckley shares how one crucial piece of advice kept him from walking away from his career and changed everything.
Take a seat and take a sip. It's whiskey for the soul and insurance for the wallet.
Man, that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. My journey at Apollo started at an early age. So when I was 14, I would try and go to anytime that we'd have a late start on a Monday. I wanted to attend the Monday morning meeting that was weekly. And I did that when I was 14, 15, all the way till I was 18 years old. And so I got to really learn the business through the eyes of the people that first started, the journey at Apollo, which was cool because I remember when we had our very first meeting, or one of the very first meetings that I went to, I was dressed in baseball gear. It was in the summer, and we were meeting in the back of a Denny's. That was our meeting space. And I'll never forget it. We had Alex around the table and Tom, and a lot of these people are still with us to this day. Then we moved to a different, building that happened. But my journey started really when I call to the roots, the beginning of when Apollo didn't even have a building. We didn't have an office space like this, and we didn't have employees that were just dedicated for marketing and different things like that. So I've really seen the evolution firsthand and experienced it, been a part of it. And then I really dove headfirst into the business when I was 18 and I got my license, and I really started selling after my sophomore season of baseball, playing in college. I went to my dad and I said, hey, I'm ready to go full time into the business. And that was really, really fun, but extremely challenging. I was just we just brought on a new class, we do every summer. And I always share my story. The first 90 days, I didn't make one sale. And I had quit baseball, college baseball that is, where I could have been a very good Division II baseball player, played and had a lot of fun and did different things. And I remember going to him in August, because I had started that summer, and I remember going to him in that August, September timeframe after about 90 days, and I was making the calls and doing different things, and I went to him almost in tears. I was like, gosh, I don't know if this is for me. I haven't made a sale. I got to do something different. I got to put me in a back office role or do something along those lines. And so he said, hey, slow down. And I remember I was so mad at myself. I was like, I quit baseball for this. And he said, hey, what's the market telling you? What are the people that you're calling telling you? Have you done anything different? Are you listening to what people are saying? And the reality, what hit me in the face was I was doing the definition of insanity. I was doing the same thing every single day, expecting a different result. I wasn't changing. I wasn't adapting. I wasn't doing anything to my sales process. And that was my first experience of really learning sales. Like, hey, knucklehead, your market, the people that we're trying to sell to and to essentially advise on health insurance for, they're telling you it's not working. Change up your approach. And a lot of times what a lot of people don't understand is it's minor tweaks. I tell our new agents that all the time. It's just, you may be just saying one thing that's off, or one thing here that you need to change in your approach. It's not like this massive overhaul, because people still buy you. They're not buying necessarily a product. We represent essentially all options available in the marketplace. And so it's not necessarily, and the competitor right down the street has the same options. We just feel like we have more options and we do more things in the health insurance space, that we're the expert. But the reality is they're buying you. They're buying the relationship that you have, the questions you ask. How much do you care? Are you a robot when you're talking to them on the phone? What's your date of birth? What's your zip code? What's this? Or is it more conversational? Oh, you have 2 kids. I see that they're 10 and 12 here that you shared with me. Are they doing travel sports? Are they, and so that was my approach. And it ended up working out really well. And so after I graduated college and I went through college, I had a successful book of business after I learned this process in my first few months of really, really struggling. And I wanted to, one of the biggest things that I saw was, man, we have so many people that are in the business that I've seen be successful, but they were a lot older like my dad, and they'd all work from home. I said, we can really start an inside office and bring young talent, young people into this industry that I felt like was aging out. There wasn't, when you looked around at our competition, there wasn't a whole lot of people that were young and doing well in the industry. And I knew that we had an ability to help bring people in, teach them the business, give them a fun atmosphere to work in, and give them a career path that would not only change their lives, but their future families' lives. When you help people and want to have that deep-rooted desire to help people, the money always follows that. If you're only chasing money, that's not a good measure of success, because I think you'll just eventually burn out. But when you have a deep-rooted desire to want to help people navigate problems, and there is tons of problems when it comes to health insurance. I mean, just look at all the changes and regulations that we've had over the last decade. It requires a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort. So then I got into leadership. I got my MBA at Rockhurst University here, a local college, and I really dove headfirst into leadership and leadership classes and wanting to build up other people in their career. And that brings us to today.
Yeah. Is there a time where you can remember your first client that you had where you made a positive difference and what that felt like?
I do. It was about the time that it switched for me. It was my very first ever sale. I'll never forget it. It was a data lead. So back in the day, I used to get 5 data leads a day that I paid money for. And you would be lucky, and I mean lucky, to get one of those leads to pick up the phone for the day. And I would call, email, text multiple times throughout the day. And it was one of my first sales. It still is on the clients to this day. She'll know exactly who I'm talking about if she sees it. I helped her. She was currently uninsured. I helped her get into a plan that was within her budget, that covered her. She really needed labs and doctor office copays covered, and we found that solution. She was almost in tears by the end of the phone call, because she was always interested in health insurance, but nobody had been able to give her a solution that she felt was, one, within her budget that she could afford, and 2, would make an impact for what she needed for health, how she used healthcare. I always tell people that we're really an advisor. We're not, I hate the term broker. At the end of the day, we're broker, but I hate the term salesperson and broker, because we're not selling. We're not really brokering. At the end of the day, we really advise. And we ask the questions: how do you use healthcare? What prescriptions do you take? What medications that you're managing, or conditions that you're managing on a regular basis? How often are you seeing the doctor? And those questions allow you, as the advisor, to look at all options and really build a plan that's customized, tailored for said client. And we do that every day and twice on Sunday, and that's why I love it. So I'll never forget that. It was my very first client that I ever sold. It was in August or September of that year, 2016 or 17? 2016. Christina was her first name.
What inspires you the most to keep going whenever you feel burnout? Here.
That's a really good one. Yeah, so the industry itself, it's hard. There's many times that it's sales at the end of the day, right? I don't like to use sales, but sales is hard. It's a hard industry. It does want to burn you out. Especially our industry altogether, because the Q4 is, and you guys have seen this, it's insane. And we work a ton of hours, long hours, 7 to 7 on the weekends. Our phones never stop ringing. There's text messages coming in all hours of the night. And you text one client on Monday and maybe they respond on Thursday, and you're jumping around all over the place. And oh, by the way, the government's saying you got to do this in a 45-day window in order to get a 1-1. And if you miss your 45-day window, we'll give you an extra 30 days, but you can only get a February 1st at that point in time. They've crammed 30 million Americans into making a decision in 45 days. There's not enough brokers to help the 30 million Americans, it's hard. Because the average consumer doesn't have the adequate amount of time to spend with a broker to have a deep relationship, a deep, meaningful relationship where you truly are getting an advisor approach. That's why I love this time of year, the summer months or the spring months or fall months, because it allows outside of that busy season where I can dedicate an hour to spend with a client and answer all their questions. Where compared as into November and December and January months, I can only dedicate 20 to 30 minutes tops with said client, just because there's that many people to process and get through. Because if I spend an hour with every client, I wouldn't get through everybody that I have.
Yeah.
So, but what I would do, you said on burnout, one of the things that I like to focus on is I have that deeper desire to help people, not only people that need health insurance, but people that also sell or work for Apollo in that sense of things, that are helping other people. I love to see the impact. There's power in numbers. Our mission statements to positively impact people's lives. And we do that through our 5 main core values: work ethic, excellence, sacrifice, trustworthiness, and courage. And if you live those values out daily, and that mission statement fuels you to positively impact people's lives, that's a powerful thing, not only for yourself, but then when you can get an entire organization wrapped around that same common goal, that's powerful. And that's what fuels me. When I not only see myself or someone else do it, but I see an entire organization chasing that common goal daily.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
And when you think about like the future for Apollo, what would you say excites you the most about it?
I have a lot. I have a lot of big plans. When I say I mean we, Apollo. I just see so many things that we can do and accomplish as an organization and an entity, and I've already seen that growth the last 2 years just from standing in the seat that I'm in, and it's cool. You guys have probably experienced it yourself, and just seeing the people that we've brought in and the talent that we have. It's crazy. We've been incredibly blessed with the amount of people that have come into our organization and the quality of people that have come into our organization. And I want to continue that. That is extremely satisfying, and there's so much gratitude and thanks, and not only just to see, I'm looking at another one of our agents that's sitting outside this, and Clark Lynch, he's been with us since I can almost tell every single story of every single person that started and when they started. He started in October of 2020. And he was only essentially a lead hunter. He didn't sell insurance. And then he started seeing what he could do and the impact he could make. He's like, I want to get my license. I want to start. And so we started him in November of 2020, right in the middle of open enrollment. And I can share that story. And I can do the same thing across the board with all of our agents and back office employees and marketing team, and the impact that we're making together is so cool to see. And it's just continued to blossom and bring more people. You bring more people, and everybody is sharing that common goal, and things like, man, where are you working at? And it's cool to see, like, even in Kansas City, the amount of people that are like, oh yeah, I've heard of Apollo now. Whereas 4 years ago, they're like, what's Apollo? What do you guys do? Or whatever. So it's the brand awareness, it's brand recognition, it's where we headed. I'm already got plans for what's our next step, what's our next goal, what's the next building got to be, because we're already running out of space from an actual square footage space. So we need a bigger building. It's a great problem to have. The bigger building allows, while the motorcycle goes by us, but the bigger building allows us to bring in more clients that can meet in a meeting room like this and get a hands-on consultation if they want that's local. There's just a lot of things that we can do that I envision for our organization, and I see us having 1,000 employees one day. And what's that look like? Because if you go back when I first started in 2016 and 17, and we had 5 inside employees, to today, 6 years later, where we now have over 100, it's like, what's the next 6 years look like? And what are we going to accomplish? And could we accomplish things that we never even thought imagined? If you would have told me in 2017, hey, you're going to have this, this, and this, and your company will be this size, and you have this many clients, I would have been like, nah, you're kidding. It's not, no, that's not going to happen. But I think that, once again, it's the people that we have and that continue to come in and want to make an impact that's greater than themselves. At the end of the day, everybody's here for a common goal that's greater than themselves. And that is why we're having the success that we have. We care. We truly care.
This has been the Whiskey and Insurance Podcast, brought to you by Apollo Health Insurance. Don't forget to subscribe on Spotify and YouTube for new episodes, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. It's Whiskey for the Soul and Insurance for the Wallet.
Aye.